First up, though, I do want to talk to another guest. We finally got her on the line, and that is Waffa Al Udeni. She joins us. She's a Palestinian journalist in Gaza. Good afternoon to you. Waffa, are you on mute? Just we can't hear you, Waffa? You're on mute. Waffa, can you hear me?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
I do apologise. We don't have much time to talk to you, sadly, because I've tried to establish that link with you. Can you just give us the latest on what is going on in Gaza from your perspective as a journalist there?
Yeah, actually, the situation here is really terribly, terribly difficult. I can't tell. We are talking here about massive destruction everywhere, about massacres is being committed by the Israeli occupation warplanes around the clock, like so many. We are talking here about nearly 2,000 Palestinian and 700 have been murdered during these airstrikes. Nearly 700 of those who got killed during these airstrikes are from the kids. And according to the Ministry of Health, they say that nearly 1,000 Palestinians are still under rubble. They are trying to rescue them and pull them out of the rubble.
Okay.
And according also to the UNRWA, they say that nearly there is 1 million Palestinians have been displaced after the Israeli airstrikes on their homes and their residential buildings. And now we are talking about so many massacres is being committed here.
You use the word massacre, Waffa. The Israelis, their argument would be, look, we warn in advance when we're going to strike a building. We warn people to get out. We told people to evacuate. That deadline was on Saturday. They've extended it and extended it. There wasn't a warning from Hamas to the Israeli festival goers or people sleeping in their beds Saturday, the 7th of October, when they were attacked. As much as I think most of us are horrified, I think most right-thinking people, by any innocent civilians in Palestine, in Gaza, dying as a result of these airstrikes, is it right to call it a massacre?
In fact, you don't know, I'm not really sure if your correspondent here told you that there is no warning at all. The Israeli warplanes just target the homes and everything, the residential buildings, shops, pharmacies, schools.
But isn't that because Hamas fire weapons from those civilian apartment buildings?
No. You know, if this is true, you can't find, most of the victims are from the civilians. There is no military leader among those who got killed. All of them, according to the Ministry of Health, they said that all of them are civilians.
Well, the Israelis claim they've actually managed to kill the leader, the man who masterminded the attack on the Israeli massacre. You know as well as I do that Hamas are completely and utterly embedded in the civilian, apartment blocks and hospitals and everywhere. That is how they've sought to protect themselves, by basically using the Palestinian people as a defence by putting themselves in apartment buildings, putting their weaponry in apartment buildings.
Yeah, actually, I just want to add something. You just said that there is a place is safe here in Gaza. Here in Gaza, we don't have shelters. We don't have sirens to warn us from any Israeli attack. Everyone is a direct target to the Israeli warplanes. They're targeted indiscriminately. Without warning. That's why we have the so many people who got killed. I'm just telling you that we have nearly 2,700 Palestinians, among them nearly 700, or even I think the number is rising right now because just today another massacres were committed, and they told the people to move from the south to the north, but in fact they targeted so many homes in the north as well as in the south. Yesterday, just today, just a few minutes ago, as I was talking to you, a few minutes ago, they targeted a home in Rafah, killing at least 20 Palestinians from the same family, and they are still pulling out the other family members from under the rubble.
Okay. Can I ask you
from the north,
Okay, yes, so people have been told to move from the north to the south, but they're still being targeted. I understand that. Can I ask you, why you're still in Gaza City? Why have you chosen not to leave?
Why to leave? This is my homeland. If someone asks you to leave your home, are you going to leave your home?
If someone said they were going to bomb me and my family to death, well, if that's, you know, you're saying a massacre, and they told me to leave, yeah, I would leave. Yeah, I think I would.
You would leave your country if someone is going to take your.
They're not asking you to leave your country.
Take you out of it.
They're asking you to go to the south so that they can tackle the Hamas fighters.
Actually, this is like Israeli propaganda when they say to the people, just move from another place to another. Actually, they target everywhere here in Gaza. Okay. They just say this because they know that the media will take this, and they say that they are warning the people. So when they commit massacres, they will say, but they warned the people, and those people didn't evacuate from their homes. But in fact, they targeted, you know, like they asked the people to evacuate from the south to the north, but why they targeted them in from the north to the south, but why they targeted like a truck and 2 cars while those people were leaving
well, again, that's, as you know, that's disputed, and the IDF claimed that that was actually a booby trap bomb left by Hamas. Can I ask you, just finally, even in the wake of that massacre of Israelis on October the 7th, what to you would be a proportionate and reasonable response from the Israeli armed forces to that massacre of their nationals? What would be, you think, reasonable?
I didn't get your question. Can you say that again?
Given the massacre of 1,400 people, Israelis, women, children, the taking of hostages, 199 hostages, all of the horrific atrocities involved in that massacre by Hamas, what do you believe, as a Palestinian journalist living in Gaza City, what would be a proportionate and reasonable response from the Israelis to that?
You know what is the saddest thing here is that
no, answer my question, please.
You know, we only hear the mainstream media or the media in the West.
No, please, Waffa, please answer my question. What you're saying that the response of the Israelis right now is unacceptable. You're calling it a massacre. What would be a reasonable response?
It's ethnic cleansing.
Okay, so what would be a reasonable response?
You know, like we have been suffering, have been subjected to the Israeli occupation, brutality and oppression since nearly 75
so what
years.
Would be a reasonable response?
And even we have 5,000 Palestinians are still in the Israeli occupation jails. We have 170 Palestinian kids that are still in the Israeli jails. We have nearly 40 Palestinian women inside the Israeli jails.
Waffa, you're a journalist. You're a journalist. Yeah. I'm a journalist. I'm asking you, from the perspective as a Palestinian woman living in Gaza City, what would be, if you think the Israeli response is unreasonable, disproportionate, it's wrong, what would be the right, proportionate, reasonable response to 1,400 of your people being massacred? What would be acceptable to you for them to do, other than say, oh, well, never mind, we'll just carry on as usual, which is clearly not going to happen. One final chance. What would be the reasonable response?
Yeah, you are just saying that we are journalists, and I'm a Palestinian journalist, yes, living here under this harsh condition.
You're just not going to answer. Do you not think that's a reasonable question to ask you?
Listen, it's the question. I mean, like, you didn't know that they committed, like, since we here in Gaza, since nearly 17 years.
I do know that.
We have been Israel.
Stop telling me what I don't know and answer the question.
Yes.
Why is that such a difficult question to answer?
Sorry, I'm answering your questions here because, you know, you just look to the Israeli side and you
I'm not looking at just the Israeli side.
What is happening.
I'm asking you a reasonable question. What's a proportionate, reasonable response to that massacre?
You know, like, listen, I'm just reporting what I see as a journalist from here, from Gaza. I saw that the Palestinian people are suffering in a daily basis because of the Israeli brutality against them. The occupation...
And because of Hamas's brutality.
Listen, the Israeli occupation, they are using phosphorus bombs. Do you know that? They are using
I asked an Israeli person about that only last week.
Yeah, they are using internationally banned weapons.
Again, still not an answer to my question. Should we give up? Should we just give up? You're not going to answer the question. We'll have to leave it.
It's a collective punishment. What is happening here is
a collective punishment. So what would be the correct response?
But look at the very beginning when who started this? We were living, like, I'm a Palestinian refugee. I used to live
Okay, I'm going to, Waffa, I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to leave it there because if any conversation in this that ends up going back to, I mean, let's go back 1,000 years. Waffa Al Udeni, Waffa, I'm so sorry. We took a long time to get you on the line. While we're waiting to speak to you, we've got less time. If you're not going to answer my question, then we'll have to leave it. I do appreciate you joining us. Thank you for joining us.